Peace for Ukraine or Ukraine now. Russia, just go home.
There are 211 countries and regions which have animal people protection laws. Obey the law of your country. No more animal people slaughterhouses. No more hurting. No more murdering them to eat, to lab test, or for any reason at all. Be vegan. Make peace. So be it.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule.
If we no longer raise livestock, hundreds of millions of acres of grazing land and feed crop land could be rewilded and be havens once again for endangered species. This is how transitioning back to our natural plant-based diet can save the world.
Man eating plants. How a vegan diet can save the world. Interview with Jonathan Spitz, vegan, part 1 of 2. Continue watching to find out more.
Vegan, because the animal people are a blessing.
Cherished viewers, my name is Horace. In Jamaica, you often hear Jamaicans greet each other with "Wagwan," a casual way to say hello or to ask how someone is doing in the Jamaican patois dialect. As a beautiful island in the Caribbean, Jamaica is home to lush rainforests, thriving wildlife, and magnificent natural treasures. Its rich and dynamic culture, unique reggae music, and vibrant atmosphere add to its charm, making a visit to Jamaica an extraordinary adventure. The warm-hearted people of Jamaica wish that your life is bathed in blessings from God.
You are not born just to die in a senseless war. Go home to your dear Russia, or rather be a prisoner of war, as the enemies are very friendly, very hospitable, very forgiving by far.
Я живой, все в порядке, я в плену, мам, в Одессе. Не как миротворцы, как нам говорили, мы тут, блядь, оккупанты, людей убивали мирных. Мама, такой...
По украинскому народу, да, я, наверное, не найду слов тех, которые бы там загладили нашу вину, поэтому я скажу просто, если найдете в себе силы, простите нас.
Возвращайся домой. Я тоже вас люблю.
Welcome to part 1 of a 2-part series entitled Man-Eating Plants, How a Vegan Diet Can Save the World. Interview with Jonathan Spitz, vegan. Jonathan Spitz is a vegan environmental and animal people rights activist. During the 1990s, he served on the board of directors of the Willits Environmental Center in the U.S., working to protect wildlife and the natural environment from the detrimental impacts of commercial activities. In the early 1990s, he began advocating for the natural environment and its inhabitants by writing letters to newspapers and politicians, addressing their misleading reporting and self-serving policies. During the 2000s and 2010s, he wrote op-ed columns for a local newspaper in the US promoting environmental preservation and animal persons' rights. After noticing that his fellow environmentalists were unaware of the connection between eating animal people meat and environmental problems, he decided to write his book, Man Eating Plants: How a Vegan Diet Can Save the World. This book explains the history of the human diet, the detrimental effects of eating animal people meat on both our health and the environment, and the benefits of adopting a vegan diet. Mr. Spitz began the research for his book in 2000 and did most of the writing between 2014 and 2022. With such an important topic for humanity to write about and such a wealth of information available, it couldn't have been easy to choose what to focus on. Let's hear what Mr. Spitz chose.
The biggest challenge for sure was condensing the enormous amount of information that I uncovered and to try to get it into a book that was reasonable, that people could read and understand. And, I had a long time trying to figure it out, how to do that. I wrote about the science of ecology, and I wrote about the history of nutrition. I started with a chronology of human evolution from 2 million years ago, and how our change from being an herbivore into being a carnivore has had such profound effect on not only our health, but on the environment. My book is basically about how our change to animal diet is basically the cause of epidemic levels of chronic degenerative diseases like atherosclerosis, diabetes, and cancers. Number two, runaway climate change due to greenhouse gas emissions from raising livestock. And number three is mass species extinction due to overgrazing, rangelands, mass cultivation of feed crops, deforestation, and overfishing. And so that's what I settled on to try to get this idea across in the book.
Mr. Spitz highlights some harmful effects of raising animal people for food on the environment, backed by statistical data to help people clearly see the reality of what eating animal people is doing to the planet and its inhabitants.
The reality is that animal agriculture and livestock production is very, very destructive to the environment. Animal agriculture accounts for as much as 51% of human-generated greenhouse gas emissions, which much of it is methane. And methane is up to 86 times more powerful greenhouse gas than carbon dioxide. A very important fact about methane is that methane lasts in the atmosphere about 20 years, and carbon dioxide lasts in the atmosphere about 100 years. So if we were to go on a plant-based diet and eliminate all that methane production, we would start to actually see a cooling happening within a 20-year period. Now, another interesting fact is that grazing livestock and growing animal feed accounts for 83% of farmland, while producing only 18% of the world's calories and 37% of total protein. And also, growing feed crops accounts for 67% of deforestation. So if we were to produce plants for people to eat instead of feeding them to animals, we could greatly reduce the amount of farmland that we need to feed the human population. And by doing that, we reduce the footprint of animal agriculture on the planet, and we allow for other animals to have their place to live and be, and to be natural and to live.
Vegan, bet you are heaven sent.
Noble viewers, let's pause for a moment for inward contemplation and to appreciate the love found in all vegan food. We'll return shortly. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television.
Peace for Ukraine or your reign.
Welcome back to our program, Man Eating Plants: How a Vegan Diet Can Save the World. Interview with Jonathan Spitz, Vegan, Part 1 of 2 on Supreme Master Television.
There are 211 countries and regions which have animal people protection laws. Slovenia is one of them. Slovenia Animal Protection Act. This law establishes the responsibility of humans for the protection of animal people, laying down rules for the good treatment of animal folk, and specifying what is considered animal person torture and what practices are prohibited, etc. Acts of animal individual cruelty are punishable by a fine of €2,400 to €84,000. Obey the law of your country. No more animal people slaughterhouses. No more hurting. No more murdering them to eat, to lab test, or for any reason at all. Be vegan. Make peace. So be it.
There is a popular misconception in some parts of the world that a vegan diet lacks sufficient protein. Jonathan explains why this cannot possibly be true.
All living things are made out of protein, and so plants have plenty of protein. All the proteins and all the amino acids that make proteins come from plants. When animals like us eat the plants, our digestive system breaks down the protein into the individual amino acids, and then our bodies take them up to make our proteins that make up our body. So all of the proteins and the amino acids come from plants. There's only 8 amino acids that are essential for human diet, and plants have them all, and you get them all. In the medical literature, protein deficiency hardly really exists at all. It only exists among people who are not getting enough food. They're starving, basically. When you don't have enough food or enough calories to sustain your life support systems, well, then you're going to have a protein deficiency, and your body's going to start using protein, your own protein, to try to survive, and then it will break down. But if you're getting enough food, enough calories, you're not going to have protein deficiency. That is a complete misconception by people.
How to be looked up to.
Be vegan, go green, make peace, do good deed.
How to be looked down on.
Do the other way.
Jonathan Spitz explains how transitioning to a plant-based vegan diet can help save the world.
If we humans transition back to a natural plant-based diet that's appropriate to our various needs, which is fruits, vegetables, tubers, nuts, and seeds, all of the chronic degenerative diseases such as atherosclerosis, diabetes, cancers, and many others that are known to be caused by saturated fat, cholesterol, animal protein, and the lack of fiber in animal foods would virtually disappear. If we no longer raised livestock to satisfy the human desire for meat, dairy, and eggs, our greenhouse gas emissions that are driving global warming would be reduced by as much as half, which is more than transportation and power production combined. And if we no longer raise livestock, hundreds of millions of acres of grazing land and feed crop land could be rewilded and be havens once again for endangered species. This is how transitioning back to our natural plant-based diet can save the world.
We appreciate Mr. Jonathan Spitz for taking the time to share with us his insights into how a planetary shift to a vegan diet is the perfect solution to the serious health and environmental challenges our civilization currently faces, and how it can foster a more sustainable tomorrow. Please join us again on Friday, October 13th for part 2 of Man-Eating Plants, How a Vegan Diet Can Save the World, interview with Jonathan Spitz, vegan, as Mr. Spitz explains the connections between dietary choices, global resource consumption, and the well-being of both humans and the planet. Man-Eating Plants, How a Vegan Diet Can Save the World is available at Amazon.com.
A person would not even think of eating such prohibited things. unless he has a strong desire for them and is careless of his spiritual benefit. Such a person, having a strong and uncontrollable desire, certainly injures his own soul and pollutes his pure character. Therefore, for the good of one's own soul, one must observe ahimsa or non-violence, which begins with vegetarianism and prohibition. Babu Kamta Prasad Jain, vegetarian.
Honest viewers, it's been a delight to have you with us for our program today. Up next is Jay Sampson and Simply Shelter, Building Refuges for the Homeless, Part 1 of 2. May we all embrace a vegan lifestyle, guided by the grace of God to safeguard all inhabitants of the earth.
Be vegan, make peace, do good deeds, hell not reach.
Russia, leave Ukraine or you reign now. Peace be with you too.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/UL.
Nos programmes offrent plusieurs langues. Veuillez visiter suprememastertv.com/schedule et suprememastertv.com/UL.
Nuestros programas ofrecen varios idiomas. Visiten suprememastertv.com/schedule y suprememastertv.com/UL.
برامجنا متوفرة بالعديد من اللغات. يرجى زيارة suprememastertv.com/schedule و suprememastertv.com/UL.